Okay, so let's go back to the syllabus again and talk about papers and paper format. So in this course we use MLA, which stands for Modern Language Association Style. And this is commonly used in courses that are humanities-based courses like, writing, literature, art. But you might have used APA at some point in time. APA, American Psychiatric Association. Took me a moment to remember what that's called because I never used that style. But anyway, that's used in social sciences. Sometimes it's used in nursing. So APA and MLA are the two main styles. But what's great is once you learn one kind, it's really easy to transition into using a different kind. Okay, so once you use how to use a style, once you learn the reasons for using some of the components or information that's involved in a style, once you learn that, it's easy to kind of sort of plug in a different style or a different format. So do read through that section that talks about what's entailed in that format or style. The Prentice Hall Reference Guide will also help you. We'll spend a lot of time talking about that as well. Okay, so general instructions for papers. You need to submit each paper to the correct folder in Momentum. We might have multiple folders open at once, okay? It's your responsibility to make sure you put the correct essay or correct assignment in the correct folder. Okay, so we do also write proposals for every paper that we do. And we're only doing 2, but I ask that you do give me a proposal. I'll give you deadlines for that, so don't worry about missing it or anything, because I do give you deadlines on the schedule. But anyway, if you turn in a paper to me whose topic you haven't gotten approval for, like I haven't seen a proposal for that topic, then I won't accept that paper. So just understand that. Okay, I do give you guidelines for each essay. You want to make sure you look at the handouts on Momentum regarding what I expect from a first draft and from a second draft. Because, I mean, this class is about the process of writing. I heavily emphasize revision because I don't believe you're going to get it perfect the first time. Well, perfection is something I think we strive for, but, nobody's perfect. But we do the best we can. We try to get the paper in the best shape possible that's within our means, right? So I expect to see improvement from the first draft to the second draft. And for the research paper, we do 3 drafts of that. So I expect to see marked improvement from one draft to the next. And that's part of what I grade you on. So you might say to me, but what if I have a really excellent paper? What if I have very little to improve on as far as, a first draft that I turn in? And see, here's the thing though, I look at each person's paper individually. I'm not going to tell you to improve on things that you don't need to improve upon, okay? So I look at each paper individually, and I give advice based on the individual needs of an essay. So your job is to improve on the things that you need to improve on. I won't ask you to improve on things that aren't relevant to you, okay? So this is a very sort of individualized, process, I think. So everybody has room for improvement. So I'll tell you guys, each person, what you need to improve on, and you go on from there and work on what you need to do for your essay. So I talked a little bit, I mentioned earlier in one of the earlier videos about going to the Learning Center. I do require that you meet with a tutor because I think everybody benefits from that. I mean, even professional writers have editors, okay? I think that's something that we forget. I mean, we think somehow people just churn out excellent writing, but no, what makes excellent writing is the ability to go back and see where you can make improvements. And often it takes other people's advice and other people's insight to make that happen. So I try to set you up with people who can help you do that. And we have some really great tutors. We have We have fantastic tutors at every learning resource center at this school. So, if you are in Oak Ridge, go to the Oak Ridge one. If you're close to Oak Ridge, you can go there. If you are closer to Harriman, go see someone in Harriman. If you're closer to Cumberland County, go see someone in Cumberland County. But we have excellent tutors at every learning resource center location. So now, we also have the Learning Center online, okay? And I don't recommend that as the first course of action. I think it's always better to see someone in person. All the students I've had in the past who've tried it, tried the Learning Center online and tried seeing someone in person, always tell me it's so much better to see somebody in person. So if you can do that, that's your first course of action. If you have absolutely no time, outside of time you devote to this class, and you just can't make it to see someone in person, then you may use the Learning Center online. You can access that by going into Momentum, and there's a tab, or there's a link in there that says Learning Center Online or Submit Your Papers Here or something like that. So you click on that. Most of my students use just go see someone in person. Okay, so I do kind of give you guys that responsibility to go see someone, and give yourself plenty of time. Like, don't go see someone the day that the tutor visit form is due, because I do require proof that you went to see someone. So don't wait until that day, okay? It's important that you kind of schedule out some time. Take the schedule that I've posted in Momentum. Think about how much time you have in the week. Think about when you can go see someone well before an assignment is due for this class, okay? All right. So I can't really say for sure when I will get feedback returned to you regarding papers. The average length of time for responding to essays for most teachers is about 2 weeks. But I've been known to get my papers back more quickly than that. But it kind of depends what's going on. If I have a bunch of papers to grade at one time, it might take me a little bit longer to get that feedback returned to you. Regardless, though, I'm not going to demand another draft from you before I've given you feedback for the first one, okay? So definitely, I want to give feedback to you. You can look at my feedback, see it, think about what you need to fix or what you need to address, and then go from there. Okay. So for all drafts of papers, definitely start thinking about each draft early. I kind of build into the class the requirement to think about each paper early. So we kind of do that as a part of the class. I do want to point out some important things about the file formats that you need to use. So you want to make sure that you save all papers on your flash drive as either a Word document or a rich text format document, okay, or file. So, and the reason I say this is to save all of us, both of us, all of us, a lot of headaches, okay? Because if you send me, first of all, if you send me a PDF, I cannot type in that. And one thing I love to do, that I need to do, is to be able to open up your document and give you feedback in there. Type comments to you, okay? A PDF won't let me do that, so no PDFs, first of all. But if you use Microsoft Word, then you don't have to do anything. It's automatically going to be a Word document, right? But if you're using some other program, then you will need to make sure that you save the file as rich text format. All right. I also ask that you save each file with a particular file name, okay? So I ask that you save, first of all, you save it with your first name, last name, okay? That's how the file name starts off. So this is just an example. So John Smith, this is paper 2, and it's the first draft of paper 2. So he's going to write John Smith, paper 2, draft 1. And that's all as one file name, no spaces. This will save me tremendous time when it comes to downloading your papers, okay? And also it helps to keep you organized, because I can't tell you how many times I've had students submit an essay, the wrong draft of an essay, to the Dropbox folder. And they didn't realize until it was too late that it was not a revised draft, it was an early draft. And, I don't know what draft it is, because, the responsibility for making sure you put the right draft in there is on you. So when I get the paper, I'm thinking, oh, this person didn't revise enough. This person didn't do enough work, and that's unfortunate. And I wonder, why didn't the person do this? So then the person ends up getting a bad grade because they put the wrong paper in the Dropbox folder. So using file names like this, numbering them in the fashion that I've listed, will help you tremendously to avoid putting the wrong paper in the Dropbox folder. All right, let's see what else. Please observe the due dates for these papers, because I do take off 5 points for every day that an essay is late. That's every calendar day, okay? So, there's no need to just lose points unnecessarily. So sometimes it's better to go ahead and turn in a draft that you think is pretty bad. Go ahead and turn that in rather than letting it be late, okay? Now, it does depend on the situation. If you have one paragraph written, you might want to wait a day or so and turn it in when the paper is more fully developed. But most of the time, it's better to turn it in on time. Again, I don't accept essays by email. Okay. I do want to say something about the feedback. So I will put feedback into the Dropbox folder into which you submitted the essay. Okay, so if you don't see any feedback there, you need to let me know. All right, so like say you go into the Dropbox folder and you don't see anything, you should have a little note that says view that you can click on. And if you don't see the word view there that you can click on, and you've heard from other people that, oh, they have feedback, or I've mentioned something about, feedback, if you don't see your feedback, then you need to let me know, because something might have happened. Maybe I forgot to click the submit button or something, or maybe there's a glitch, okay? So you need to let me know if you did not get your feedback for a given paper. For final drafts, I do want to make sure I say this clearly. If your final draft, the second draft, if it's second or third draft, if it's the research paper, but for the first paper, if your final draft does not bear any significant improvements over your first draft, you will receive no more than an F for that final grade, for that final draft. Not the final course grade, but the final draft of that essay. Because remember, I said that revising is a very important part of this course. I need to see significant improvement, okay? That might differ between students or among students, okay? Somebody might not need to work on comma splices, but other people do, right? So you need to, again, this is individualized. So whatever I tell you that you need to work on to improve, that's what you need to focus on, and make sure that I see noticeable improvements from the first draft to the subsequent drafts. All right. Let's see what else. I do want to talk about late papers, late assignments. So I did mention that I do deduct 5 points for every calendar day that a draft is overdue. This does include weekends. I will not accept a paper that is more than 7 days late. And also, turning in a first draft late does not entitle you to extended time on a second draft. Okay, so it doesn't work that way. And what else? Okay, I also do not accept excuses for late papers that include placing them in the wrong Dropbox folder or not clicking the submit button when you uploaded it. Because I've had several students in the past who said, I promise you, Professor Stevens, I did upload my essay. I remember doing it. And I look in the Dropbox folder and their essay is not there. Their name, see, if your essay's in there, your name is in there. And if your name isn't in there, then I didn't get anything from you. So often people forget to click the submit button, but I do have instructions for how to upload papers, so make sure that you look at that handout, and we will do a practice one, okay? But anyway, make sure you go through all the steps or your paper will not make its way to me. All right. I also do not accept excuses for late papers regarding uploading the incorrect paper or saving them with the incorrect file names or saving them as the wrong file type. Okay, it's your responsibility to make sure that you use the correct type of file that I can get into and read and comment on, okay? I'm going to stop there and I will pick up with peer reviews and information about the research paper.